وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We'll be online now, inshallah. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Is it better like this, the screen, or too much?
It's good.
Okay. So inshallah, Ramadan is going well. We are towards the end. May Allah bring the best out of the last days and nights, inshallah. I believe we went up to 6 points, so inshallah I'll be continue reading from there. Again, we have Colin Turner from England and Nazif Durmas from New Jersey assisting us, inshallah, in our discussion. I strongly encourage brothers to contribute while we are reading. Our listeners. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 6 points. The most important episodes of divine revelation took place during the month of Ramadan. And so, one of the many wise purposes behind the Ramadan fast pertains to the revelation of the all-wise Quran. It is as follows. As we started with the verse in the very beginning, شهر رمضان بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. So the whole chapter is kind of interpretation of those words. This particular section is talking more extensively about it, inshallah. Since the all-wise Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan, to ignore the demands of the lower nafs by abstaining from food and drink means that we are able to respond to that heavenly address in the best possible way. Since the all-wise Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan, to ignore the demands of the lower soul by abstaining from food and drink means that we are able to respond to that heavenly address in the best possible way. Fasting then allows us to attain a state of holiness. It allows us to read and listen to the Quran as though it has just been revealed, or as though it is being revealed at this very moment as we read it. It allows us to listen to the Quran as though we are hearing it from the lips of the God's noble messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or from the angel Jibril, or indeed from the eternal speaker himself. It allows us to act as the Quran's interpreter, communicate it to others, and to some extent to demonstrate through our actions the wisdom behind the Quran's revelation. Indeed, it is as though in Ramadan, the whole world of Islam is transformed into a mosque, a place of prostration. In every corner of that mosque, millions of those who have memorized the Quran, Hafiz, cause the dwellers on earth to hear that heavenly message. Each Ramadan reflects in the most luminous way the verse, "It was the month of Ramadan in which the Quran was bestowed from on high. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن." It proves beyond all doubt that Ramadan is the month of the Quran. Some members of the vast congregation listened to the Quran reciters with respect, while others recited for themselves. To pander to the base desires of the lower self while situated in a sacred mosque, and to abandon the state of holiness through eating and drinking is to invite the disgust of the rest of the congregation. Similarly, those who oppose this practice of fasting in the month of Ramadan call upon themselves the disgust of the whole world of Islam. Okay. So, first of all, the revelation of Quran, it's the time, how is it in Ramadan? I mean, there's, I believe, specific revelation about, narration about Laylatul Qadr, right? So, do we have any information on that? Maybe Colin Hojam can help us. Colin Nabi, do you want to step in?
I don't have information about hadith or anything else that confirms what's being said here. To be honest, so I can't help in that sense.
So maybe Prophet ﷺ got revelation in different times, but mostly in Ramadan, or was it like revealed to the heavens of the earth in a specific time in Ramadan and Laylatul Qadr maybe?
I think that it was originally the whole of the Quran was revealed in that month, and the first revelations. So it became known as the month of the Quran, and I think we can understand this because it is the month in which we are trying to make ourselves human, truly human. And to be truly human is to be a recipient of the Quran. And to be truly human means to empty ourselves of as much that is other than Allah as we can. And symbolically, of course, we empty our stomachs of food and drink. Food and drink basically is, it symbolizes the bounties, and the bounties themselves symbolize the divine names. So if we can rid our mirrors of everything that clogs up the mirror and doesn't allow things to shine through, then we can function properly. We can function without prejudice, perhaps. We can function with proper understanding, without digression, without diversion. And Quran can reach us in a much more receptive state than if we are full of, that which is other than Allah, in a state where we are diverted, where our attention is taken by other things. So we have to empty ourselves, and the performative component of that is actually not eating and drinking. We're making a statement. We're saying that we're emptying ourselves, not just physically, but also we are, bearing our soul and offering our cleaned or cleaner mirror so that Allah's names can reflect there more brightly, actually, and more obviously.
At this point, it just a question came to my mind. So everything in the universe is creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are all reflecting the names of the creator. And of course, the human being is most a bright mirror, or a most comprehensive mirror to the names in the creation, which seen in the creation, it is a focal point, all those names, human being. So isn't our humanness is a mirror? So isn't it so are we kind of other times hide some of them, or not really aware of all of them, or in the Ramadan, how does it reflect it or manifest it in a different way, so that we come ready to listen to the Quran?
I think because theoretically we are, well, actually we are ajiz, we are impotent and we are poor. That is our true creational state. But when we are negligent, when we are diverted, when our attention is diverted to other things, we fall back into the habit of believing that we own things. It's all about disavowing ownership, and we're talking about ownership of the names. So all of the names that are reflected in us can often, unfortunately, give us the illusion of true ownership and true sovereignty and true autonomy, none of which we actually have. And so Ramadan is an opportunity to get to know our true foundational selves. And true humanity is the one who admits his or her ajz, his or her impotence, and his or her poverty. That is a true human being. Unfortunately, this fiction of ownership, although it's a necessary fiction, we know this at the beginning. We have to own the names in order to understand the names, and in order to disavow them, in order to hand them back, in order to to submit them back to their true owner. But a lot of the time we are laboring under this fiction of ownership, and Ramadan is a very good opportunity, helped obviously by the messages of the Quran, to disavow this idea of ownership, that we own things, that we are somehow in possession of things, because we're not.
Thank you so much. This was very explanatory, eye-opening. So in a way, yes, we are always subject to the manifestations of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but most of the time we're kind of turning our backs, or we just thinking that those are from us. It's kind of we forget, at least for ourselves, that we are reflecting those names, but we're kind of negligent from those manifestations. So in a way, it doesn't help us in our own growth, or in our own development, or in our own accepting those reality into our lives. Maybe we just make the daylight and night for ourselves, maybe in our own understanding. And of course, Quran is our sun that will illuminate our way on this journey. As far as I understand from this first paragraph, there is a special way of being an addressee to the Quran's message, being a recipient to that heavenly message, and it's not a mere theoretical message to us, but it needs an acceptance with all our being. In a way, maybe Nazif Abi can step in, say a few words, how we are preparing ourselves to this message, or how it talks to us, so that we need to be ready to receive it with all our being. Maybe it's just not with mind, but our heart, our soul just drinks from that source in a way.
Can you guys hear me?
It's a little low, your voice, but
Can you hear me now?
little better, but
Oh.
maybe you can come closer. Or
How about now?
still a little low. You can.
Log out and just come back. Just a minute.
Yeah, this is good now. It's good now. Oh, he left. Okay. So let me read it again, the first paragraph. The all-wise Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan to ignore the demands of the lower soul by abstaining from food and drink, means that we are able to respond to that heavenly address in the best possible way. Fasting then allows us to attain a state of holiness. It allows us to read and listen to the Quran as though it has just been revealed, or as though it is being revealed at this very moment as we read it. Are you back, Nazif Abi?
Oh.
Yeah, we hear you now. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, that part reminded me actually. I think there is just a little bit of kind of maybe condition, like Stada, he talks about in the 26th word, just towards the end. So it's the way that I kind of remember. So I hope, like, I remember the part, like, and just clearly, and I can just hopefully convey this in making just a rational kind of way. So in that part, I believe he talks about a little bit of kind of confusion, just the condition about how we manage our maybe just nefas, so like an evil commanding soul. So if we want to maybe just transcend and understand most of the things, like, and especially Allah Almighty, just like a little kind of better. So he talks about, like, let's say just in the second paragraph, like from 26th words. So just, oh, my conceited soul, you resemble a grapevine, so do not become proud. And then so he continues, like, hypocritical kind of soul, do not become vain. And I serve the religion, so God strengthens this religion, making by means of sinful men. And then so he says, like, at the end, if you want knowledge and reality, knowledge of reality and true wisdom, gain knowledge of Almighty God, for the realities of beings are rays of divine name of truth and manifestations of his names and attributes. So he continues that the reality of all things, whether physical, non-physical, essential, non-essential, and the reality of all human beings is based on a name and relies on its reality. So things are not merely insignificant forms without reality. So there is a brief discussion of this mystery at the end of the 20th word. So he continues, he says, like, if you, so, oh my soul, if you long for the life of this world and flee death, know certainly that the conditions you supposed to be life are only the minute in which you are. So all the time previous to the present minute and the things of the world within that time are dead in the present minute, and all the time subsequent to the present minute and all it contains are not existent in it and nothing. That means the physical life of on which you rely is only 1 minute. So I think so, since it is thus, give up the physical life of the soul, rise to the level of life of the heart, spirit, and inner faculties. See what a broad sphere of life they have. So, and then just like, if you, I guess you guys remember, so he continues with a little bit of kind of just, poem like this. I mean, I am ephemeral, so I do not want another who is thus, I'm impotent, so on and so forth. So that this reminded me, so when you guys were talking about, so especially, and I believe that maybe Ramadan is one of these months that is given to us maybe to remember, especially, or to remind us that maybe this is one of the best times like that we can have and to reach this type of kind of just a level, right? So because like, I'm just think about like, I mean, just what type of kind of worship that we can have, that we can continuously just keep worshiping like every single minute. And if we can just, get farther away from this type of maybe just lives, all these just invitations, and we can just maybe just go maybe just just forget about all these worldly things, at least for a second, maybe sometimes even for a minute. So you see, like as he explained, so everything that just like we see around us is like, as he described, is kind of dead. So if we can somehow comprehend that type of maybe just just theoretical kind of just that just a little bit of kind of explanation that just life is only this minute, and so if we can reach to that level and ascend a little bit and realize that, so yes, just just get away from this worldly things and then just transcend that to the level of just like the heart, the spirit, and then inshallah, just like minute by minute, or like maybe just hour by hour, we can just try like manifesting and become a mirror to all his names, and then become like happy, right? So again, like just in 11th word, so he explains like what is like happiness, what is the purpose of this life. So basically just get maybe just closer and closer to those type of kind of names. I don't know, like I kind of like, I mean, just like that explanation, and I guess I feel that like Ramadan is the best time to find these truth in it. Anyhow, like I don't know, I hope like I made it I made it clear just to show that little bit of kind of connection that I see from 26th word and the 11th word. So
yeah, alhamdulillah, it was very nice. So maybe we can a little bit more expand on that. So the Kolonajam starts saying this is come into our real humanness, or be kind of come back to being a real human being, and cleaning our mirror for a reflection of the manifestations of names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our physical being is already a mirror to the manifestations of the creator, names of the creator in a way. So um, just I'm thinking over that. So are we sometimes missing some of it, or maybe I'm coming back to the first question again, but maybe if you have some more in your mind, we can just step in and talk a little bit more about it. So what are we really missing? So what is going on? And besides the Ramadan or fasting, or how it's taken us away from our reality in a way, we're just kind of negligent to these manifestations. Is it the part that our fake ownership just hurts us in that sense, or cuts our benefits from that reality? Or I'm trying to understand here, because the steps are very interesting. Maybe it reflects the reality of humanness, saying that we're listening it from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then the Jibril, and the Creator Himself. So we have different devices, I guess, to be subject to the different dimensions of this message. So we are kind of getting a different condition, going under a different condition to be able to listen all those dimensions of the message. Or how does it work in your understanding? I couldn't. I'm trying to understand this part. Maybe one of you can help me in that sense. Colin Hocam, are you with us?
I'm with you.
Okay.
Although it's getting near to iftar here.
Yeah, it's a hard time
in
for
the
you
States, it's yeah.
to keep reflecting.
The thing is, the Quran is being revealed to us all the time, as though we're hearing it from the lips of God's noble messenger, Salam, or from the angel Gabriel, or indeed from the pre-eternal speaker himself. Outside of Ramadan, that is also the case.
So the message looks to the whole message, right? The Iqra message looks to the whole life and whole Quran, and
it looks to every moment. But because we're human, and because we become enmeshed in this nexus of worldly causative diversions, we forget. Insan means nisyan, and nisyan means forgetfulness. We are created from forgetfulness, again, which is a necessary negative, I think. So Ramadan gives us an opportunity to adopt a mechanism whereby we deny ourselves the infusion of certain sensory things, which has the effect of emptying us, not just physically. Remember, everything that we have, our stomachs, our hearts, our parts, our organs, they are all symbolic, and they have a different form in Malakut. So we have to bear this in mind. We are emptying our stomachs. That means, actually, we are in a sense making tarbiyah to our nafs. And what does that mean? Nafs wants to own. Nafs wants to deny. Nafs wants to take the necessary fiction of ownership and autonomy and make it real. That's what nafs wants to do. Now, when we deny nafs that ability, it means we are becoming closer to our actual state as receivers, recipients. We don't act, we don't create anything. You know, when we move, it's not we who are doing the moving, you know. When our muscles work, it's not we who are working them. We forget this. And Ramadan gives us an opportunity to connect with our true being, our true nature, if you wish. You know, Zalum and Jahul, those are not necessarily negative things. It means completely empty of all of the divine names. We don't own any of those names. We don't possess any of those names. We are empty, clean mirrors originally. And Ramadan gives us an opportunity to taste our own ajz and to enjoy the fact that we don't own anything and that we cannot do anything without Allah's creative act and his permission. You know, at the end of Ramadan, if all we get is hunger and thirst, and we know that there is a hadith which says that some people only get hunger and thirst from Ramadan, then that's unfortunate, because hunger and thirst are means. They are not the end. They are the means. They are the means of understanding and attaining some kind of ma'rifah, you know, some kind of God knowledge and self-knowledge, and becoming closer, not just to our true selves, but when we become closer to our true selves, we become closer to Him. You know, when we make our niyyah every morning, when we say we're going to fast, we say it for the sake of proximity to Him. Qurbatan ilallah. Qurbatan ilallah means I want to become closer to Allah. You can only become closer to Him if you move away from your lower self. And this is what we are trying to do in this month.
Thank you. So we are trying to be a better mirror to the names, or at least not try to hide some of those manifestations, and be more aware of that mirrorship in a way, or our worshipful state in this month. And I want to re-quote the last part again. So some members of the vast congregation listened to the Quran reciters with respect, while others recited for themselves, to pander to base desires of the lower self while situated in a sacred mosque, and to abandon the state of holiness through eating and drinking, is to invite the disgust of the rest of the congregation. Similarly, those who oppose this practice of fasting in the month of Ramadan call upon themselves the disgust of the whole world of Islam. So this doesn't just look to a opposition of an adab, or how come, how dare you're not fasting while the others does, but here there is a big negligence, as far as I understand, right? So negligence of our humanness, negligence of our position among the creatures, as you said, our humanness. So it's kind of just denying the whole aim of the creation in a way, because since the whole creation looks to the shukr, as narrated by Ustad from the very beginning, and the whole creation is kind of straightened around or given the fruit of shukran. The human being as the Khalifa is kind of the first one who should shoulder this or represent this meaning. And denying this, we kind of spoil the whole fruit of the universe, or ignore that the wisdom behind the whole creation and our reality. So it's not a simple negligence, but it's kind of not, respecting all these meanings, foremost the wisdom of the creator, of course, and while being not a good subject addressee to the divine message. I believe, right? It's not that a simple opposition of adab in a masjid, or this represents a lot in a way. Any words on this, Nazif abi?
Yes, like I remembered again, I just thanks a lot for calling out. Seriously, that reminded me many different parts that I maybe just never thought before. And I guess like just again, so like comes back like it's another part that is that he talks about the importance of understanding the ways that to understand the Quran and get closer and closer to Allah, and just to get better, is the importance of impotence, understanding the way of impotence, poverty, compassion, and reflection. So, and repeatedly in different parts of Risala. So if he just explains to understand all of these, and so then use them to get better and better every day. And so and especially just moving to those kind of levels and trying to understand all these like in the faculties, as Colin Rabi reminded me just that part. These are just like these faculties and organs and everything just given us like only just as means, and to use them correctly and understand especially the concepts of like just compassion and reflection, right? So and especially in practicing every single part of our life, and using all these great opportunities like Ramadan and fasting and worshiping, and to understand him better and better, and use all these faculties correctly and properly to understand all these concepts. And inshallah, and it's one day, just one by one, maybe all these letters coming from Allah Almighty, and just finding some sort of those messages to get closer to him, and so hopefully just understand him better and better, to become a better human being. While we were doing that, of course, I mean, just maybe just manifesting some of his names, and inshallah just and helping others, and then so to move forward, of course, I mean, just inshallah in the levels of maybe better in the humanity, right? So they're reaching this like this conscious and continuously, right, living it, and that'll be just seriously kind of just perfect. And as he just like explains, like it's now just maybe becoming like one with this like with a huge kind of congregation. That's why I guess like in some kind of parts, like he just says in this Ramadan Risale, so the whole just the world becomes like almost kind of mosque, right? So in masjid, a congregation. So when you start like participating and just becoming one with that's so just inshallah, just it's so you become part of it, right? So the whole just the universe is worshiping and reciting So then you just join them, right? Inshallah. So yeah, I guess like so that these are the parts that just that reminded me, and so especially that importance of like reflection. I mean, and then of course, I mean at the same time like the compassion. So right, remember like in different parts, like in lahikas and everything. So he just even just in a small part, right? So like I mean, just because as a human being, as like a Muslim, so we have our own duties and tasks, not only just with ourselves, of course. I mean, just if I am part of this, let's say, just brotherhood, if I'm part of this city, I'm part of this, family and everything. Our task and everything, the duty never changes. So I have to be careful. I have to be like always like conscious, like in having that compassion and reflection and everything. Just wherever I go, I take it with me. So then I become very sensitive, right? So in every single part of my life, so then I can keep living and I can keep manifesting and just reflecting, right? So every single truth that I learned in religion, and then every time like so then I'm always like reminded in myself that that I'm a good let's say just Muslim, right? So like I'm living it, so then just like reflecting it. So then like I mean the humanity just basically works like a little kind of better. So having that sort of just maybe just the truth like within itself. So anyhow, so I guess so that just these are the parts that just comes to my mind, like but of course I mean it just begins with understanding, realizing that impotent like and just poverty. So then we move to hopefully just that reflection part, right? So that compassion part. So and I guess like Ramadan is the best time to reach that sort of kind of level.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Okay, since we are coming close to the end of Ramadan, I want to just continue to the next point. Maybe it looks little a different subject, or then the seventh looks a little different from the sixth, but I guess it just follows up in a way. Let me just read through.
Sorry, before you read the seventh point, can I just make a comment on the last sentence in the sixth point? It says that those who oppose the practice of fasting call upon themselves the disgust of the whole world of Islam. But also, I think those who oppose should also call upon themselves the compassion of the whole world of Islam. And I know exactly what Ustad means here by disgust. There is a kind of disgust, but also there should be a kind of compassion, because Ramadan gives you an opportunity to know that you are ajiz and faqir, and like no other time. So outside of Ramadan, how are you going to know that you are ajiz and faqir? Unless, are you going to wait until you're so old that you can hardly move when it may be too late, even if you get that far? So Ramadan is an amazing opportunity. It is a gift. It is, in a sense, there is a vicious circle of neglect and negligence, and Allah gives us the opportunity to cut that vicious cycle. Otherwise, why would you ever stop? Getting up, eating, working, eating lunch, eating dinner, going to sleep, getting up, all of these things, it's a cycle. This is cutting the cycle. And that cutting the cycle, it's not just, some fashionable health fad, to fast and perhaps to lose weight, all of these utilitarian reasons that people give. It's an opportunity for you to know who you are. Otherwise, when are you going to know that? When are you going to be able to experience hunger and thirst, both in a sense of spiritual hunger and spiritual thirst. When are you going to be able to experience that? When are you going to be able to connect with humanity, if not now? If not now during Ramadan, when? It's much more difficult, when you are in that cycle, to understand your impotence and your poverty. And so those who don't fast, really, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for reminding that. It's kind of all of us. Yeah, I hear that. We experience this through our daily actions, through our daily cycle. We just run after that and forget about everything. We are kind of human. That just live through the same cycle every day. Yeah, thank you. 7 point. If we are all set until now, maybe inshallah we will continue to reflect. We can always come back to the 6th, but I believe it's connected in many ways. One of the many wise purposes behind the practice of fasting in Ramadan concerns the trade in good deeds and the earning of spiritual profit, which is one of the reasons why humankind was placed on earth. The reward for righteous actions in the month of Ramadan is 1,000 times more than in other months of the year. According to a prophetic tradition, each word of the all-wise Quran carries 10 merits when recited, 10 hasana, 10 sawab, and will bear 10 fruits in paradise, in Jannah. During Ramadan, however, each word yields not 10, but 1,000 fruits. And verses such as Ayat al-Kursi yield thousands of merits for each word. If they are recited on a Friday in Ramadan, the yield is even greater. And on the nights of power, Laylatul Qadr, each word carries 30,000 merits. Indeed, all wise Quran Hakim, each word of which yields 30,000 eternal fruits, is like a luminous tree of Tuba, which will earn in Ramadan countless millions of eternal fruits for those who believe. Consider then the sacred eternal trade and the profits to be had from it. Consider it and think of the infinite loss suffered by those who do not appreciate the true value of those words. So until now, it's a very practical lesson to the modern man, because we kind of get everything with this material measurements, right? Just we calculate and we have our own calculation about the benefits of the physical possessions and everything. So it's easier for us to get how important also the spiritual gain in this month. However, in this paragraph, inshallah, it's coming again to the core message, which is very much hand in hand actually, but sometimes maybe we miss and have hardship to relate. In one sense, then, the month of Ramadan is like a market designed for the trade of the Akhirah. It's a vast tract of fertile land where the crops of the Akhirah may be sown. For the growth and flourishing of actions, Ramadan is akin to the showers of spring. It's a brilliant holy festival at which mankind displays its worshipfulness. It's a brilliant holy festival at which mankind displays its worshipfulness in the face of the sovereignty of Allah's lordship. And it's because it's so, mankind has been ordered to practice fasting and self-denial. Mankind has been told to abstain rather than surrender to the animalistic desires of its lower self, its lusts and its desires for the trivial and the futile. By rising above its own animality and by ignoring the demands that the world makes of it, the lower self is able to approach an angelic state and to engage with the trade of the Akhirah. Through fasting, one approaches the state of the Akhirah, the state of a spirit appearing in a bodily form. In that state, each human being becomes a mirror reflecting all of the names of the one whom all beings need, but who is himself above all needs. Indeed, the month of Ramadan itself acquires a kind of permanence and eternity within this short life, within this brief, fleeting world. For a single Ramadan is able to produce fruits equal to a lifetime lasting 80 years. The fact that, according to the Quran, the night, the Laylatul Qadr, is more auspicious, holy than 1,000 months, better than 1,000 months, AD, 83 years, is proof of this, if proof were needed. So it's very interesting, Quran and the narrations, it gives us certain numbers. We have 10 minutes, 100,000, 30,000, goes on and on. But in a way, it's kind of abundantly multiple. It's not just making a calculation out of those sawab rewards, but on the one hand, we have just our animal side, which reflects those names of the Creator in a limited way, but now we're kind of increasing our awareness, our humanness, and we are putting all the other angelic and human devices on work, and we get a much more benefit out of that mirrorship, or being a manifestation place to the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a way, we start using, or we increase the usage of our human devices and those angelic devices. It's a big gain beyond those, just numbers of the sawab. We just come to the awareness of our human side again, becoming a real subject to the message of the Quran, back to the 6th point in a way. So it was very interesting how it started, but to me they go hand in hand, and how they're related in a way. Indeed, the month of Ramadan itself acquires a kind of permanence and eternity within this short life, within this brief fleeting world. So human being can be subject to the eternal life, the Akhirah, inshallah, in that way. This could be our last session before the end of Ramadan, and Alhamdulillah, inshallah, it's going beneficial for all of us. We're making dua for each other. Before we close in this last session of Ramadan, any reflections, Nazif Abi, Koran Abi? Inshallah, I want to stop here.
No reflections, just I hope that everyone is benefiting, inshallah, from the opportunity.
Alhamdulillah.
Likewise. Inshallah, we're all benefiting, inshallah, and then we're all, just taking advantage of this great month. and yeah, being with and just attending some iftars and praying together, and just and at the same time, like yeah, sending some du'as, inshallah.
Inshallah. So Kolonavi is still in Turkey, I believe. So I don't want to.
No, I'm back now. I'm back in the UK
okay.
now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. So I was thinking you're very close to the iftar, but you have.
No, I'm still close in the UK, closer than you anyway.
Inshallah. So, Colin Hocam, you want to close with a dua, inshallah?
Inshallah. Ya Sani kulli masnu, Ya Khaliq kulli makhluq, Ya Raziq kulli marzuq, Ya Malik kulli mamluk, Ya Kashif kulli makrub, Ya Farij kulli mahmum, Ya Rahim kulli marhum, Ya Nasir kulli makhdul, Ya Satir kulli ma'yub, Ya Maljai kulli matrud. Subhanaka ya la ilaha illa ant, al-aman, al-aman, ajirna minan nar ya Rab.
Amen.